Hello, everyone. Welcome to Meticulous Talks on June 10th. I am cursedchords,
And I'm Hithroc.
and it's good to talk to you all again, and you especially, Hithroc.
Ah, thank you. Good to talk to you too.
It is the summer. Well, it is summer. It's been really hot here lately. I don't know if that's the same for you as well, Hithroc.
Ah, last week was pretty hot, but now it's a little cooler.
Yes. Well, yeah. I was gonna say it is the summer for pony cards as well. We're getting into the active summer months where there will be a few tournaments on the road to Continentals in August. Then, and then the autumn. We all know what comes in the autumn.
We all know what comes in the autumn, yes.
So we're probably going to have a couple of streams at least in a row here of just tournament results because we have this stream talking about the Whinny City tournament, and then online cons next week. So 2 weeks from now, our next stream may as well be about online con. Online con's core as well this month too, right? Or is it
I
adventure?
think so. I think so, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, core.
Right. Yeah.
I think
So
there's no adventure. I don't see any.
we'll have a lot of time to see how things settle down in core right up to Continentals. It's good.
Yeah.
Uh I got the feeling that core hadn't even really settled from the bans, and then Prize Wheel 2 got thrown into it. So I'm not sure what to expect at all from these next couple tournaments. Obviously, we have the results for Whinny City, but no idea what's going to come in the online con.
Yeah. And Whinny City is Harmony anyway, right?
There was a Harmony event, but there was also a core event.
Oh. I missed that then.
Okay, we're talking about the core decks today.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, I see it. I thought it was Harmony. Oh, wow. Silly me.
Yeah. Well, okay. First initial reactions
Yes.
by
Yeah.
you to these decks, then.
Yeah. It's been a long week for me, this one.
Yeah, no worries. So with that, there's there were 8 entrants to the core event, which is a nice and perfect. I mean, obviously, we prefer more. More people are always better, but it's a good number for us. We'll have probably a good length of stream talking about everybody. So, we'll go bottom to top like we usually do, which means we start with Mist, who played Thorax White.
Yeah, good old changeling decks.
Well, yeah. Bugfest is having its time in adventure. It hadn't really made its way over to core in a big way, but yes, this is well, again, yeah, not standard for core, but changelings, yes. I wonder, actually, looking at it, is this an old list? I think this might be just an old deck list that somebody dredged up, missed, presumably, because it's only 45 cards, and there's not aren't even any new
The
Dawn
leaders is
cards.
like, yeah, leaders is the most recent card here.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, there's a problem. Bring out your best.
Ah, okay. All right, yeah. So yes, no fond memories then.
Are there many good changelings and fun memories?
And admittedly, none that comes to mind right away. Oh.
So there's Pharynx that challenges troublemakers. There's also Thorax that stops the changelings from being cancelled, which I'm sure is relevant a lot of the time.
Well, it does. Like, that's not the only thing the card does.
Yeah, it gives also some power. But I mean, there was Chrysalis in the tournament, so
Right.
that's what this card is basically. Because I think Chrysalis is the only card that cancels friends. Or, like, cancels non events, rather, so.
Yeah. So there's that white one. We were talking about fond memories, right?
Yes.
Petiole that copies a changeling friend.
Oh, yeah.
That one's fairly significant.
Yeah.
The other thing that stands out to me about this deck, I'm looking at it closely because it's yellow, so it's a little strange. I think that one Valley Trend is the only resource removal.
Mm, yes. Maybe you don't need any more resource removal.
I think I'm gonna beg to differ on that. With having looked at some of the stuff up in the top of the uh, standings this year, and just in general.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Yellow has so many good resources. Like, even Brian would be nice here.
Brian, always such a solid pick for yellow. Yeah.
Maybe replace main 6 with that.
Oh yeah.
Main 6 is like an odd choice. And I will still stand by that in limited it might be okay, even though people say that even in limited this card is really bad. But in constructed, you definitely have better options, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. But yeah, that. Uh, other cards that strike me as particularly.
No, I feel like everything else is more or less just changelings.
Pretty reasonable, yeah.
Yeah.
Frenulum is a little bit kind of stand out because it doesn't synergize with Thorax.
Delivery Mare, maybe not that helpful.
Well,
It's 1 power, stays at the
it's
bottom.
2 power because of Thorax main. Not
Well, yeah, but that's barely kind of like. All of the cards here except like Pharynx. +1 because of Thorax.
no. Well, I was just pointing out Frenulum is not, and that Singleton Chrysalis
Yeah, yeah.
and Arista actually.
Oh, yeah. Arista is 3 power.
So anyway, yeah, room for some refinement, probably.
Yeah. We
Uh,
like changelings, though.
well, I have good news for you. For the rest of this list, then there's a surprising number of them. So next up we have Double R Forest playing Seleno White. The tournament organizer did mention that this deck is technically not core legal. Is that final question? This was not noticed until results were kind of tabulated.
So we are playing a Harmony tournament.
Well, actually, just looking here at Ponyhead, like, actually, this deck's only Nightmare legal.
Yeah,
Um,
I think final question is banned everywhere.
yeah. But this is a evolution of blue-white Seleno combo, I would think. Well, that version was Seleno aggro. It never leaned too far on the combo because it had Pony Pirate and other means of point acceleration. And actually, this is a more mid-rangey style with Sans, with spoons, with even becoming popular is kind of a control-y. It's in the middle. Changeling Throne is though a control tool.
Yeah, I mean, you have also Spoony. Captain Wells is definitely not an aggro card.
Hmm.
I mean, he has experience, so maybe it is a little bit. But
And actually, I guess looking at the problem deck, Prospecting Interruption and Mystery, yeah, these are generally middle of the road kind of problems.
yeah, and I think the rules technicality, it's called, right, will definitely not go into this deck instead of the final question.
Right. Yeah, that would be a strange, like, yeah, seeing rules technicality and prospecting interruption in the same problem deck would be strange in general. So one thing that occurred to me actually looking at this deck, which was a learning experience for me with the rules actually. Maybe it'll be a learning experience for other people. I don't know. Was looking at Claude and
Mhm.
wondering what exactly makes an attachment resource an attachment resource. Because
It has a host description.
yes, because I was wondering. It sure seems like it would be a good card to play with cards that resources like reports and locations that go to problems.
But
But
they played on a problem, not at a problem.
that's the problem. Yeah, yeah. Anything that's not anything that doesn't go to your home is an attachment,
Pretty much, yes.
which is that's unfortunate.
I mean, technically, you could have a resource that says play at a problem instead of to home, and then it wouldn't be an attachment because it's not actually played on a problem.
Right.
But if the card says on, it's an attachment.
Well, so I actually did look at the rules, um, and the rules as they're defined right now is if it's not an attachment, it goes to home. Otherwise, it goes where it goes.
Oh, fair enough.
Anyway, so
But yeah,
yeah, I don't know if that's useful to anybody, but that is a lesson that I learned. Because it is always well, yeah, it's unfortunate that Claude always has to enter play, and then your resources at home, and you need to spend at least some other thing to move it, to make it useful.
yeah.
Um, but well, yeah, there's no way around that.
It does make me wonder why Cloudin is in this deck. Like if
Um,
you're looking for the dream where you put it on a stick or something, which is still like not very good, but I think it's the best you can get really. Uh there's only one stick in this deck, and maybe Claude is here for like as a resource removal kind of thing. But I mean, Winter's I think would be a little better for that.
yep, I mean, that's actually a reasonable point when I think about it. Is Claude actually better going on an opponent's resource? Kind of is.
Uh I mean, so the big problem here is that if he leaves play, the effect is gone.
Right,
Like they still have the counter, it just doesn't do anything until you play another Cloud.
right. And the rule is that if 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 that effect goes away and the resource finds itself in a place it's not supposed to be, it gets It goes back to its home, or
I don't remember. I don't think it would go to. I think it would just stay at the problem. But I might be wrong. I don't remember.
okay.
But yeah, but like even as a resource removal, only temporary, and you give them a friend with power.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me to see how to properly use Claude in any game scenario.
Uh, yeah. So the resources that exhaust in this deck are stick and saddle row. Yes.
I mean, yeah, you could play Claude just for the handy.
Yeah. He's a fairly unfortunate friend at 2 cost 4 requirement, 2 power, just handy. Play Sandbar if that's what you're after.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, we've seen this kind of deck before. It's been a long while since we last saw this kind of blue-white, but it was effective in its time. Well, sorry, I say all that, forgetting that, as we said, this is a slower version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually been doing some thinking lately about white-blue kind of mid-rangey style. Because it is kind of a enticing prospect. White does have a lot of stuff like, frankly, what you see in this deck, boons and bonds and stuff that's power efficient enough and yet annoying for the opponent, and you combo that with all the amazing stuff that blue has for free movement and just general efficient confronting. It seems like a somewhat reasonable combination in theory.
Yeah. Blue also has a lot. Not blue. White also has a lot of temp power. We don't really see that in this deck, but temporary power could be really useful with blue, like
Mm-hmm.
a good synergy.
Alrighty, shall we move on?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 6 is Prism Light with Professor Sparkle. This is mono purple farm. Remember, yeah, this is the farming purple main, yeah.
Is it? Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, you don't see this Twilight very often. And you see
I forgot she exists. I thought it was the other Twilight.
you do see other Twilights often enough, yes.
I thought it was the Leaders of Legends Twilight, the one that wants singletons in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and then he said it's for the farming. I was like, that card is not farming. uh Oh, I'm surprised to see Prism Light play purple. In my my image of Prism Light is like all orange.
Almost always, yeah.
Yeah.
He does step out sometimes, though.
Yeah, like in this case. And I do love purple farming decks. It's
Pur-
my favorite kind of farming decks.
yeah, Purple Farm has held a niche, well, in Harmony for the longest time. Still does. Premier
Yeah.
Twilight still farms well enough. Has worked in. Has it ever worked in Adventure?
Well, it can't because there's no Twilight main.
Right. Right.
And this main, like nobody uses really this main other than like this is the first time I see this main in many, many years. Outside of like sealed and stuff, limited formats.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Even in limited formats, nobody really runs this main.
Yeah. There are like looking at the deck put together. There are quite a few um tools that help with this.
Yes.
Cozy Glow is actually a really good starting play if you're opening playtimes over, which presumably you are. Um, yeah, you can get yourself out set up to flip pretty early. Obviously, AT generation it works very good with this main because you want to throw AT into beating troublemakers.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't notice this at first, but so Tempest Shadows Unity 10 is any event, and that actually synergizes very well with the cheap events like Rainbow Laser that Farm wants to run. Um, so that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some nice events here. The only thing is, like, I wish I was more prepared. Maybe, maybe not in this deck, but like in the game, I guess. Because like looking at the prepared options here, they're all very expensive, and having prepared like as a sort of IT gen or guarantee that your opponent will not try to challenge troublemakers before you do.
Hmm.
It's really helpful. And this main does like having AT. It's a 1 AT for 2 power, which is very expensive, but it does guarantee you that like you will not flip any more cards or anything like that. Like if you're 1 power short, you can just pay 180 and you win the face off. Straight
Yeah,
up.
yeah. Uh, there are options for purple prepared. Well, a couple, I suppose, or even well, yeah. If you're willing to dip into white, you don't have to dip too far into white to get.
Unicorns?
Yeah, like there's that new stellar flare.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Obviously that does compromise your deck a little bit, going into 2 colors. Uh, but it's a good point about prepared being useful in a deck of this style. Uh, Actually, what stands out to me are those 3 flash sentries. Uh,
Yes, I also.
I forgot about Flurry Heart. Okay, that's a good point. Flurry Heart's also an alicorn.
Well, there's only Flurry Heart and Twilight, and that's it.
Right.
Is it really worth running 3 Flash Sentries for that?
3 maybe is a bit much. Like cheap Flurry Heart is very good. you're
I mean, yeah.
you're getting the discount double because you're both paying less and preserving more of the action tokens you get. Well, I mean, you're not. It's you know what I mean.
Yes. But I think there are better options out there. Because like at most, well, like I don't know, not like 1 Flash Sentry would make sense to me maybe. But 3 I think is a bit excessive. Especially since you don't really want to play 2 of them either. Well, I guess you still do, but if you play Flurry Hard, you're kind of wasting the discount at that point. Playing Twilight is still fine though.
Right. Yeah. Um, we also have well, 45 cards. So there's room for 5 sideboard cards to be added in. Would be some good options here.
Well, you already have your resource removal, so
Yeah.
Maybe some other control tools would be helpful,
Yeah. You think?
like forced movement.
Well, all right. We've got worn out already,
Mm.
and uh, like I think actually, if you do branch into white a little bit, then your sideboard can have like white hard removal, and uh, well, that's kind of where I was thinking of going.
You also have reliving history for yourself
Hmm.
if they move one of your characters away.
Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Yeah.
One thing that I find very unfortunate about this main
Mhm.
is that you cannot give yourself more power
Oh,
uh,
right, because
against
you.
the troublemaker than the what troublemaker has because you can only reduce its power so much.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
I remember I remember just now that I used to play this main in some deck, I don't remember which, and that was always the problem. I could not win face-offs because, well, some of the face-offs, because I just cannot reduce the power anymore. Anyway,
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, so moving on.
one last
Oh,
thing.
sure, sure.
I think instead of Starlight, maybe Trixie would be worth here.
That's the new Trixie, right?
Yes,
And you're not just
because
saying
instead
that.
of yeah, I'm not just saying that. Yes, I mean Trixie would always be better in any deck, but it's just this deck has a lot of events, and you're gonna play them pretty often, I would assume.
Hmm.
Same days, Rainbow Laser, Focused Attention. Like I don't think you will be finding yourself that you're not playing enough events. And Trixie is 180 cheaper than Starlight, but she flips for less. I guess that's the downside.
It's a legitimate question. Yeah, you save a little bit. What's Trixie's requirement spot? Is she also
Uh,
one rec?
I think it's 2, 3.
Okay,
Definitely not one.
okay. That's a significant point to make because that's well. Actually, let me look at the requirement curve again. I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
you're right. You have to flip to confront here, and that's confront to flip. And, it's not that good.
Well, you don't have to confront to flip. There's playtime's over in here for a reason. And
Yeah.
there are a lot of things on one requirement already, actually, so it's not a huge issue. Um, and then yeah, if Trixie is going to be as consistent, Starlight is
Yes.
right. Trixie is main phase exhaust or immediate phase
Yes.
exhaust. Okay, so another small difference, not a big deal usually, not the way this deck wants to play, or is it actually?
Well, you farm, right? So
Right. Well, yeah, it doesn't matter.
when you farm, you'll have your friends ready at that
Yeah,
point.
yeah. Oh yeah, that's yeah. There are differences worth considering, but I can see where you're coming from on that.
Yep. From Trixie.
Uh,
Uh, okay, that's everything.
okay. So next up, our next changeling deck. There are
Oh wow,
several.
more changelings.
Yeah, this time with Ocellus instead of Thorax. But broadly similar ideas. This one with all the new goodness of New Dawn. Although, prize wheel in here? There might not be any prize wheel cards in here.
Are there prize wheel changelings? I don't think prize wheel gave us any
It didn't.
amazing cards for this deck.
Right. By the way, this was Joking Luna's deck. So, the Changeling Master himself.
True.
So yeah, we mentioned Pharynx, we mentioned Thorax and Ediol as being the new set changelings that could get brought into the style. Actually, look again that other one, because also yeah, that deck in 8th place did run 2 copies of Timble. Joking Luna went all the way with 3 Timbles and the 3 Herds of Adoring Fans.
Yes, you do.
As you do, yes. I still don't believe in it myself, but that's what you have to do. He also, he put in a real big effort to maximize the bonus points of his problem deck. With the Pearl Heist and the 8-card pileup to get everything at 2 except for his single buckball strategy.
Yeah,
A
and
little interesting.
I mean, he really does need that bugball strategy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, is he? Yeah, that's actually well. Okay, yeah, he's fine. Fine for white entry as long as that buckball strategy is out. Yes.
Yeah,
And
and if it's not now out, it's like the opposite of fine. You literally cannot play anything
yeah,
other than some entry cards.
yeah. And fine for yellow. Well, the yellow is a little interesting actually because most of your actually all of the yellow entry enters at 2 power, and 2 yellow is only enough for Thorax, yeah.
You can also play Defend the Hive.
Right, but that doesn't advance you towards your big multicolor friends. And Sanctuary Construction, I guess. Also valid at 2 yellow.
Well, again, you have Rushed Makeover. That helps. That can give you a free.
Well, 3 if your main slipped over.
Well, I hope it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, you hope, but there's always that situation where you're playing farm and they open double troublemakers or whatever, and you needing to confront are not able to flip for a long time.
What I was actually thinking of, and I hate myself for this, but instead of Thorax, I think Arista would be much better in this deck. For
That
the yellow entry.
right, yeah. Oh, that's why. Yes, I see. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That opens up a lot more pieces of the puzzle off of a single entry card.
Yes. You get access to Timble, to Thorax, to Friends, to Turning Point, pretty much everything but Pharynx. Well, as long as you have white, that is, for some
Yeah,
of them.
yeah. And actually, like the friends are always there for the tokens is probably a pretty good
Yes.
point to make. So yeah, that seems like is not a changeling, is not oh wait, no, Arista is a
Arista
change.
is a changeling, yeah.
Yeah,
That's like it fits so well. The only thing you lose is experienced.
right. Which is it's slightly less on average if you play the 4 power Thorax at some point.
Yes.
Well, actually, experienced is significant in an Ocellus deck. because it's a way to
True.
get power greater than cost. But
I still think the better power curve is more important than that.
yeah, probably, and especially because all of the other changelings do that for you.
Yeah. Also, maybe Changeling Citizens is a good card. The other Changeling deck had it,
Hmm.
but it had it probably for Thorax reasons. But it's also good with SLS.
Yep. Well, so long as you're out of the immediate early game. But yes. Or wait, no. Ocellus is power greater than printed power or power greater than cost? Let's forget this. Power greater than cost. Okay.
Yeah, but like you only need 4 things on the board.
Right.
That includes Changeling Citizens themselves and your main, I think.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so you only need 2 other friends and you're good already. So it's not like you're not gonna get a Cells bonus turn 1 with that or turn 2, but like a
Yeah.
couple in turns thereafter, it should be pretty easy.
And it's good because it's a constant thing rather than a lot of the yeah. I said the changelings do that, but they're all kind of contingent on you playing a thing.
Yes.
Exception of Princess Mask, I suppose.
But yeah, as I said, I like to see some changelings.
Yeah. Very good. Will be. This is, I think, the last aggro changelings. Yes.
Yeah, no aggro
No,
changelings.
no, that's not true. There's more Thorax coming.
Oh yeah.
Not right away though. Right. Next up, we have Animoy's deck that I'm actually really interested in because this is Mill.
Oh yeah, I see the Sweetie Bell. The
I mean, it's Sweetie Belle. It's I'm the Friend You Need, which can get copied. It's both of the spikes. It's the rock turret down there. This is all the way.
wow.
Yeah.
Wait, was Prize Ulti already released for this tournament?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
So when like this tournament was like 2 weeks ago or something. So
Yes. Yeah, and the Prize Ulti was like a month ago.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's fine.
Actually, exactly a month ago, huh?
Hmm.
10th of May. Uh, cool. That's some cutting edge deck building right here.
I guess so. Yeah. It's been like Mill is a thing that showed up well, basically ever since this Sweetie Belle existed. Has been something you can try.
I think even
So
before that. I mean,
uh
you had the brown Paris Sprite
on
in
occasion.
Premiere.
Fair enough, on occasion. Yeah. This is I think this is the first time I've seen someone lean all the way into it. Uh
Yes.
and actually look at the challenge rating or challenge standings. He was 2-1. So that's pretty good for him. We have that.
Yeah.
Play against. He played against.
Joking, Luna, Golden Note, and Mist.
Yeah, and
So
I'm
Mist was the 8th place. Golden Note and Joking Luna was just so.
Mhm.
And Golden Note was higher, right? Yes,
Yeah,
Golden Note is the first place.
yeah, and I
Oh,
do like. I actually think it's nice that we have the point totals because I notice Animoy he's winning with very low, or well, okay, his win against Mist he had only 1 point. So I'm thinking like that was a real. He actually ran the deck out of cards, and his opponent conceded probably.
Yeah, 1 versus 6 win. When do you see that?
Well, when you're playing control. Although admittedly, yeah, even like in a Swiss tournament environment, that would usually
Yeah.
be a loss for control too.
But no, what I mean is that you win while having less points than your opponent.
Well, yeah.
That pretty much never happens in this game. The only way to do before the only way to do that was through Pinkie Pie to just win the game straight up,
Pinkie
or if your
Pie,
opponent concedes.
opponent concedes, or opponent flips Slenderman.
Oh yeah, that's true. Or gets
Or gets
disqualified.
or gets a game loss for cheating or something.
Which is, yeah, but yeah,
Um,
do like seeing 1 versus 6 win. That's fun.
it's pretty great. Yeah, and so besides all the mill tools, he's kind of just got a lot of stuff to slow the game down. Between Luna and Desert Road, and broadly, even Applejack can kind of fit in that idea. Which kind of makes sense. Like, it's kind of force your opponent to move through molasses and then be taking away all their cards in the meantime.
So, what do you think is the win condition here?
Rock.
Milling your opponent out does not win you the game, right?
Well, yeah, Rock Turret. I'd assume so. You can have more than one of them out.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like that'd be kind of nuts actually if you had that and then like just a couple of missed mains, right? Because then if the opponent's milled out, you play missed main.
Yeah, and every time you get more than 1 point.
Yeah, and actually it's like each. Does missed main score 2 points or does it score 1 point twice?
1 point twice.
Oh yeah, that's
I
even
think so.
better. Yeah.
I think for every card that gets out of discard pile, you score 1 point. I think she says something like that.
Yeah. Admittedly, anti-synergistic with the blindfold in here, but that would be a neat way out.
Yeah, for each card put into a player's hand this way, score a point.
Yeah. Otherwise, you've got buzzer keep away to score points.
Yeah.
Admittedly, you can't search for that.
I also don't think this deck can afford it, honestly. There's no. I don't think AT is a commodity in this deck.
That is a good. Well, I mean, you've got Spirit Siphon, but yeah, that doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are not a lot of ways to get AT in this deck, which is why, like, Miss Main sounds cool, but you will not have AT for her, probably.
Yeah.
I guess, although if your opponent is milled out, you can just do whatever you want, really, at that point.
Do we
But-
have? Sorry. Misfire is only adventure, right? There's nothing
Yes.
in core that banishes discard piles.
I don't think so.
Because that's one possibility actually of a win con. Is like once you've banished like build out a significant portion of their deck, banish a big pile, and then you drop your enormous restricted section. That can work.
And then you just confront problems?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It just. So my concern here is in Swiss, you only have 30 minutes. And if you mill me out, but it's like 5 minutes left, and I have more points than you, I'm letting play. Like, I'm not conceding, I'm letting you play this out.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, Rock Turret is like a good option.
Right. But
I
yeah,
think we need something more than that as well.
it's a good point. Yeah. Actually, one card that I'm a little surprised I'm not seeing is Golden Parachute.
Yeah.
In the right colors, and you're fine with discarding it anyway, and
If anyone ever cared about what colors parachute has. Usually gets discarded anyway.
yeah.
I guess there's no good way to discard it, but yeah, you could play it.
Well, I mean, yeah, just play it, and then it'll end up in the discard pile because you retired it.
Yeah.
Well, that's. Oh, right. It is not. It doesn't work with blindfold. That's a good point. Yeah, if you've got blindfold out, then parachute doesn't work.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah,
Okay, I love this deck. Yeah.
yeah, super cool deck. I want to see more.
Yes,
I want to
and
see this on stream at some point.
it is like something completely new, never really seen before. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Sure. Oops, I don't know. There we go. Next up, so this is into our third place. This is the other Thorax I mentioned, Brandon Pagano. Thorax Blue, which is, well, yeah, it was Thorax White before. This is Thorax, actually. There's a teensy weensy bit of white in here, too. The two Herd of Adoring fans.
Also, sea poppy.
Yes, good point. I'm gonna try and see Poppy. But other than that, Thorax Blue. Oh, 55 cards. Thinking as I was looking at this deck's kind of big. Feels kind of big.
It's fine.
Well, clearly, third place, yeah. In many respects, I mean, blue yellow we have seen kind of before. Cloud Chaser and Flitterer are the standouts and always are. It is, I guess, like blue yellow, at least from the times that I've remembered it, has always been like kind of pure aggro. But this one, I guess, with the extra card space, is included the Grogars. Both Grogars and Spooky Ruins, both of the kind of slower options.
Still think this is an aggro though.
It is, yes. This has a few more extra tools. They also have the changeling distractions are a little interesting. What is like there is no unity in here. So not
Maybe it's
helping
just
with
as a
that.
color entry. Like it's a free rec troublemaker.
Uh-huh.
And I don't see that much of blue entry in this deck, or white for that matter. You just have the rushed makeovers in this card. Oh, I guess there's also
Speech.
speeches.
Yeah, but yeah, it's all generic. Rush makeover, speech, and changing distraction. Which I guess that works. So Wax, starting Buckball strategy. Yeah, well, actually,
Not a lot you can play with that.
there isn't a lot you can play with that. Just
Just
Brian.
Terramar and Brian.
Yeah.
Do you get into like? I mean, you do have
Well,
9 entry cards in
stick,
this deck.
I
8.
guess. Staff helps as well, yeah.
Okay, yeah, you have 8 entry cards and a staff. I guess chances are you're gonna have at least one of them, right?
Yeah. You would play with that, right?
Yeah. I mean, no, that's too much entry.
So we are here in the glass house, unable to throw the stone, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess like if you okay, so to be able to start off playing, you need one of the following cards in your hand: Terramar, Stick, or Changeling Distraction. Right? Rush
Uh,
Makeover and Speech don't do you any good in the beginning unless you have Cloud Chase and Fleeter.
mhm.
And that's so I named 4 plus 6 cards I named. That is not a lot of cards, but I guess if you mulligan, there's a fair chance you'll get at least one of them. And once you have at least one of them, you can kind of go from there. Like it jump starts you.
Yeah, but that
That's my
is pretty greedy, especially since your deck is above regulation size.
pop regulation. Yeah, yeah.
Yet we do some, and I would even dare to say often see these greedy decks at the top of tournament. Well, not at the top, but in the upper half of tournaments.
Ah, but see, that's how they win. They just have more slots for other things.
Yeah.
You just have to embrace a little greed. It's a reasonable risk to take.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, anything else sticking out to you before we move on?
No, let's go.
Okay. So another Changeling main. This time it's Chrysalis, pink.
By top
Uh,
deck.
by Top Tech. Yes. Um, Chrysalis, pink. This isn't. Well, is it? Hmm. I'm debating on whether I want to call this a control deck or not. Little. Well.
Griffon Shopkeeper. That is such a good card.
Problem deck to make sure. I think.
I guess.
It's got the shape of control in my mind, but I don't know if I want to say it or not. It's got a big pile of removal.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
What does it like? So if it's not control, why is it not control? What makes this a non-control deck?
Because the concept of what a control deck is not well defined enough in my head.
But like, why are you leaning in other directions? I guess my question.
So, and like I think it's
What
because
stands out to you?
I've been conditioned to think of control decks as decks that like entirely think about only slowing down the opponent, right? And only advance their own game plan when there's a lock on the board state.
Okay.
And that seems less to be the case.
Why?
Um think about that.
I just don't like every single card I see here does something bad for your opponent. Well, most of them. It's
Most
like
of them.
Holiday Spirit is an entry card, so it doesn't really count. Professor of Laughter, entry card that's removal.
Right.
Pharynx takes control. Mistmane, traditional control card. Cozy Glow also takes control, right? Yes. Sans Smirk, harsh judge but new. Bodyguard, such a classic. Griffin Shopkeeper is really annoying for the opponent. Next card, Tax. Entry card, removal. Soft removal. Taxes. Like every single card here is a control card. What do you mean?
Yeah. No, that's well. Yeah. It's
Like I don't see this deck as anything but control. I'm just not sure why you. I want to know why. What makes you indecisive about this?
I think I have a hard time seeing decks without troublemakers as control decks. I think that's what it is.
But
But like
BRB,
you've made BRB. Doesn't BRB
like the actual
have
control
troublemakers
BRB,
sometimes?
actual control BRB. I mean,
I thought BRB ran some
what
troublemakers
about
every so
Royal
often.
Tutor?
That's not a control deck.
It's
That's a combo deck.
yeah, it's kind of control.
It
has a lot of control tools, but I
Eh.
guess every combo deck is a little bit a control deck.
Yeah,
they have to be.
It's like I'm not saying you're wrong. I think I'm wrong. I'm just saying I think that's what my brain's wired as.
No, like there's troublemaker control is like a specific kind of control. But we've seen non-troublemaker control so many times, and pink-white is probably the best combination to do it. Because they have both of these colors have so many tools to control your opponent without relying on troublemakers. You have taxes, you have cancels, you have removal, you have so many things. You have point acceleration.
Yep. I want to look actually again. So this was the second place deck run by Top Deck. Only loss was to the winner, which makes sense. Yeah, and it's my lesson to learn.
Okay, I'm gonna link you a deck, and you tell me it's control deck or not. An adventure deck, though.
I mean,
there we go.
Why would you link me a deck that's not a control deck in this situation? Seems like context says this has got to be a control deck.
Well,
hey, but there are troublemakers in here.
Yeah, but they're just because of the main. If the main was different, those troublemakers wouldn't be there.
If the main was different, this would be a totally different deck. Well, no, it would just be Skystar main probably.
Yes. Like, there's no way this deck is not control. It does not rely on troublemakers at all. In fact, it has been considered to put one grabber here instead of two.
Right. Wasn't there a big fight about whether BRB was a control deck, though?
I think this one is definitely control. There are some versions of BRB that are going faster, have less like removal options and so on, you know?
Right.
Anyway.
But like I've said a couple times in this discussion that I agree with you that this deck must be a control deck, logically speaking.
Yeah, I just don't see anything that makes it non-control.
You can't put a bunch of control cards into a deck and end up with a mid-range deck. That would, well, yeah, that doesn't make any logical sense.
Anyway,
yeah, I think so. I remember seeing in Discord, I'm gonna steal Grandpa's insight, that Plurite was an option for inclusion here. Being pink-white and being more annoyance.
Yeah.
And being that this is another 45 card deck, so there's room for a little bit of extra. Swap out, well, Plurite's better at taking key cards from the opponent, so better against combo and better against non-swarmy aggro.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I suppose I should be happy for seeing control decks that violate my usual preconception of what control is.
Yeah. I'm just happy to see pink-white control for once. It's been a while. And I remember when Griffin Shopkeeper was just released, I was like, yeah, this card is amazing.
I feel like we don't see it very much.
Yeah, and then it barely saw play because Pink white barely still play. So
I don't know about barely. I feel like we see bodyguard all the time.
they don't count. Do you see bodyguard in specifically pink white deck?
Well, it better be. I think bodyguard makes it a pink white deck by being in there. Unless you're talking about pink white exclusive, not
Yes.
purple pink white, not
Yes.
okay, fair enough. Yes, I'll admit it's normally been tricolor,
Yes.
at
And
least.
normally with purple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool deck. I like it.
Yeah. And so that brings us to number 1, Golden Note. Playing an evolution. Well, actually, I was meaning to look, see just how much of an evolution this is on the last time we saw Royal Tutor. Where is it here? It is in here and here. Most recent Royal Tutor list was from MineCon. Oh, it was your deck, or at least the deck that you played.
No, people definitely played Roll 2 after that. There was, oh, not in Core though. There was Adventure with at BabsCon.
Right, right. But well, like I'm not going to compare this deck to an adventure deck.
Might as well.
Sure. Let's see.
I mean, the Adventure list did not include any adventure cards but Napcakes, I think.
You're yeah, you're right. Well, and the problem deck. Okay, so got the new one on the right. Also with 55 cards in it. That
is this like a thing at this tournament?
Is this a Midwestern thing, I guess?
Like you either run 45 or 55. Cannot run anything in between.
Seems like it. Let's see. Anything that stands out as a big inclusion or not?
Focused attention. Was focused attention in this deck before?
No, that's new. Other than that, though, it's pretty much the same thing.
Yes. It seems super similar.
Yeah. And sorry, the Bugle's adventure list had the spectacle in it as well. That's adventure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it's basically just swapped out the adventure stuff and threw in 5 extra cards.
I mean, finding on decks is good. And I do love this deck. This deck is so good.
Well, yeah. So that implies that this deck seems to have found a highly optimized form, which is clearly still capable of winning in a wide variety of contexts. I guess this tournament missed. I mean, there was Prism Light's farm, but other than that, there was no farm.
It's kind of hard to farm in core.
Yeah, that's a good point. So it's not as big of a deal, not as worthwhile to mention.
But then again, if history taught me anything,
farm always finds a way.
Yeah, when core was just released, everybody was also like, it's hard to farm in core.
Yeah.
Because all of the harmony troublemakers were gone. And then Applejack came along.
That does tend to be what happens. The tournaments where everyone's like, yeah, no one's gonna find a way to farm in this. Those are the ones that the farming deck wins. But yeah, I think it's reasonable to say that this deck is the front runner of core at the moment.
And more or less adventure. I guess
Yeah.
front runner of adventure is BRB Orange at the moment.
Uh,
That's like a close second.
yeah. It's definitely real good. And we'll see next week on LineCon. I'm sure someone's going to bring it. This
Yeah.
maybe you are you playing in the online con?
Uh, what dates is it?
It's next week, next
Yeah,
weekend.
next week definitely not.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I probably should, and if I do, I'll definitely play this.
Makes sense. I mean, it has Celestia in it.
It's so like yeah. As much as you have gushed about it before, it sounds like right up my alley as well. And it's probably the deck that I was closest leaning towards playing in Continentals too, if nothing happens before then.
Kind of same, honestly, but I would still love to bring like my own deck.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy to play my own decks much more, even if they're worse. So that's what probably will do for Continentals. Unless I'm out of ideas, and then I'll just bring this deck.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, yeah. There is still like a month, 2 months, still more than 2 months. Yeah, a little bit more than 2 months.
Yep.
Before Continentals.
Plenty of
Time
time.
for things to change. Yes. All right. So, unless sorry, is there anything else you wanted to say about this deck?
Nope.
Okay. So yeah, that does bring us to the end of the decks for Whinny City. It's a pretty varied field.
Yeah.
Aggro, combo, half a control deck. You go by me. A full control deck. We've decided. Yeah,
It is full control deck, yes.
it is a full control deck. I have lessons to learn.
Dear Princess Celestia.
Very much so. Yep. But yeah, I think that's going to bring us to the end of our stream today. As mentioned, yeah, Online Con is next week, and so we'll probably have results from that to talk about in our next stream 2 weeks from now.
Yep.
On the 24th. In the meantime, feel free to check us out on YouTube. I'm going to try to get back in the habit of dropping our YouTube information. Oh, in here, right? Sorry. Oh, really? Where did I had the link pinned somewhere. Oh, there it goes. Discord just didn't load it. Or wait. There we go.
Was on YouTube, was Meticulous Talks taken? Why do we have numbers in our channel URL?
Well, we don't have or wait.
But like everybody has a like nickname now on YouTube. For like last year, I think.
Oh? Okay, because I haven't paid any attention.
Like, look, this is our link, and
interesting. Huh.
But we have like Meticulous Talks 9719, and I don't know why we have 9719. I wonder if you can change it. No, I'm just Hithroc. I don't know how to change that.
Oh, well, that's something that I'll look into, perhaps. But it's there. That's got all of our past streams, tournament recordings, past year's invitational stuff. So please feel free to check it out and subscribe if you want more similar content. In any event, we will see you again in 2 weeks' time. Thanks for coming out and giving us a watch. I have been cursedchords.
And I've been Hithroc.
And we'll see you in a fortnight.
Bye.